Rappers are going crazy over startling allegations that Johnny Dang sold them phony jewelry, and it's all playing out in court. What started out as a single artist changing jewelers has grown into a significant dispute.
I'm gonna take out the Johnny Dangs and put in the Geos. I'm sorry. I'm taking out these and I'm upgrading to these.
Now, this sensational case reveals a secret aspect of the jewelry game with reputations at risk. Johnny Dang didn't begin his career as a jeweler and went from nothing to the king of bling. After leaving Vietnam with nothing but his words, he established his first business selling radios, televisions, and candies out of a Houston store. Long before he became known as the King of Bling, the city's residents knew him as TV Johnny. He moved merchandise, worked hard every day, and turned each transaction into the next, making him a true neighborhood hustler. He eventually became interested in jewelry as a result of that grind, particularly grills, which are dental caps covered in diamonds and have become one of the most recognizable emblems in hip-hop culture. Some of the top names in the music business came to his store, Johnny Dang and Company. Floyd Mayweather, Lil Wayne, Drake, Beyoncé, Travis Scott, Jay-Z, Kanye West, and Cardi B. The list resembles a who's who of pop culture royalty spanning 2 decades. Artists were traveling from all over the nation, some on private flights, to sit across from Johnny and explain what they wanted built by the time his reputation was solidified. His team would find the stones, set them by hand, design it in 3 dimensions, and send the client out the door wearing something that no one else on the earth possessed. His personalized creations ranged in price from several $1,000s to well over $500 for a single piece. His brand grew so closely associated with hip-hop that his jewelry could be seen in music videos, on stage at big shows, and on the social media accounts of all the artists who wanted to show that they were successful. Among such artists was Sauce Walka. Born on June 29, 1990, Albert Walker Mondane, better known in Houston as Sauce Walka, began rapping in 2007 and rose through the ranks of the city's scene during the ensuing years. The Sauce Factory was his own label. He created a character centered on wealth, jewelry, extravagance, and street reputation. He also acknowledges that he contributed to the phrase drip, becoming widely used in contemporary hip-hop vocabulary before it was adopted by a whole generation. Johnny Dang did not have Sauce Walka as a casual client. He was among Johnny's most dependable, longest-term, and wealthiest Houston clients. He says the friendship began while Johnny was still TV Johnny, selling merchandise from the store before diamonds were ever involved. In videos that have gone viral on Instagram and TikTok, Sauce gave his own account of the incident, stating that he had known Johnny since the days when young men in their group would steal radios, break into vehicles, and sell them to Johnny in exchange for gold grills and earrings. That's how the relationship starts. That was the Bond Street level prior to it becoming worth millions of dollars. The relationship changed over time as both men achieved success. Johnny would construct large, Sauce would spend large, and the entire cycle would be shared on social media with captions intended to show the world what was possible when Houston jeweler craft and rap money came together. A $500,000 Cuban chain was one of the most talked about transactions in their history. Due to the size of the purchase, it was apparently processed directly at a Chase Bank location instead of using a standard payment system. In a public post, Johnny's crew described it as a masterpiece. As evidence that he had been riding with Johnny from the start and continued to spend at a level that most clientele never attained, Sauce carried it as a badge of loyalty. Some spending sprees reached $300,000 in one visit. Custom rings, complete sets of grills, VVS earrings, and items made to match Floyd Mayweather's attire were all available. Sauce estimated the entire amount he spent there to be roughly $500,000. In his own way, Johnny returned the favor by publishing the purchases, highlighting Sauce as a significant client, and viewing the deals as successes for both of their identities in Houston. This worked for years. It was one of those collaborations that gave Houston the impression of having its own ecology for many years. A jeweler and a rapper who grew up on the same streets and achieved success together. Then something changed between 2024 and 2026. Sauce Walka desired a larger, more sophisticated barbecue that would raise the bar. For the entire state of Texas, not just for him. He was prepared to spend more than he had previously agreed to. However, he went somewhere else to acquire that grill instead of Johnny Dang. He visited Jose Gio Mata, also referred to as Plug Gio in the industry. Furthermore, Johnny Dang was familiar with Plug Gio. He had been an associate and employee of the shop before starting his own rival company in Houston. Sauce Walker was sending a message rather than merely swapping jewelers when he entered Plug Geo's door rather than Johnny's. The message landed loudly. The war starting switch. The internet erupted as soon as Sauce Walker made the switch public. It was not a silent event. Sauce didn't just share a picture of her new jewelry. He put it on stage. He recorded it. He turned it into a moment, the type of calculated, theatrical, camera-ready flex that only someone who has spent years cultivating a public persona can pull off. Sauce Walker sat down and physically took his Johnny Dang grills out of his mouth in front of the camera in a video that quickly went viral on social media. After setting them aside, he inserted the new set, the one he had ordered from Plug Geo, and narrated the entire event like a man who had practiced exactly how he wanted everyone to feel as they watched him.
And Sauce Walker, Plug Geo, you did.
I'm gonna take out the Johnny Dangs and put in the Geos. Sorry.
I'm sorry, that one sentence came across as anything but an apology. With the composure of a guy who had no regrets about his actions, it landed as a punctuation mark on a decision that had already been taken.
And I'm upgrading to these.
The most pointed aspect of the entire concept was the word upgrading. It was more than just a switch. It was a rating, a public statement that Plug Geo's creation for him was far superior to anything Johnny Dang had ever consumed. Nothing.
Nothing. We went from 100,000 to 1 million. You know what I'm saying?
The new product from Plug Geo was dubbed the first permanent $1 million grill in history. Large 3-carat and 1-carat diamonds set in rose gold were on display. It was intended to be a lifelong fixture in his mouth, rather than something detachable or transient. According to Sauce, the cost was more than 10 times that of the previous grill.
Setting the bar standard in the state of Texas so high that it cannot be beaten. Welcome to Texas.
Not only was he purchasing new jewels, but he was also publicly and purposefully rewriting the history of what was feasible in the Texas jewelry scene, with Johnny Dang's name tied to the previous chapter. However, the changeover was only one aspect of the narrative. What Sauce said in addition to this decision was what transformed it from a business choice into a full-fledged controversy. He charged Johnny Dang with selling lab-grown diamonds, or CVD stones made in a lab using a chemical vapor deposition technique, while misrepresenting them to customers as naturally occurring diamonds. He presented this as a betrayal rather than a technicality or a miscommunication. When someone you have trusted with hundreds of thousands of dollars over 2 decades betrays you, it hurts much more. The accusation came amid a long-simmering controversy in the jewelry industry. The chemical makeup of lab-grown and natural diamonds is the same. They are far less expensive to create, yet they share the same hardness, carbon structure, and optical qualities. The price of a 1-carat genuine diamond might reach several $1,000s. A lab-grown stone weighing 1 carat may cost several $100s. The distinction is not aesthetic in a market where customers are paying high sums for the prestige of real stones. It has to do with money. And it's a whole other story if a jeweler charges natural diamond rates for lab-grown stones without telling anyone. That identical seed was sown by Sauce Walker's claim. Additionally, the claim held weight that a random online rumor would never have since he was Sauce Walker, a Houston legend with 20 years of public involvement with Johnny Dang's brand. Plug Geo intervened to support him. Jose Gio Mata publicly sided with Sauce Walker, claiming that he was underpaid even though he contributed millions to the store's profits. Additionally, he claimed that lab-grown stones had been certified as natural, giving the claims an insider's perspective that made them seem less like outside noise and more like a reliable exposé from someone who had been inside the process. The story quickly went viral thanks to Sauce's public influence, Plug Geo's insider knowledge, and the ongoing industry controversy about diamond kinds. YouTube videos like Rappers Expose Johnny Dang, Rappers Go Off on Johnny Dang, and Johnny Dang's Houston store raided started to surface. According to social media posts, officials had raided his flagship store. According to several recordings, he was taken into custody. Some said his $200 million enterprise was about to fall apart. Not all of the tale was real, and it was circulating more quickly than anyone could monitor. The $500,000 were spent by me. This is what I did. Floyd Mayweather and I both received the identical necklace. Sauce was not going to back down. He was stepping up to make sure everyone saw that. This was hardly a minor client's grievance. This man felt wronged even though he claimed to have equaled Floyd Mayweather's jewelry spending. How many rappers left this hole without you after you put the chain on them? You put on a lot of rappers, I notice. You attempted to persuade a large number of people to buy, but many later withdrew. There was a clear hint that Johnny Dang's clientele consisted of those who eventually left. That the public had been misled about the strength of Johnny's relationship with the artists who wore his creations. Additionally, by going public, Sauce was simply voicing what others had been saying behind closed doors. Regardless of the veracity of the story, Johnny Dang had to react. Johnny retaliates. Johnny Dang did not immediately address the accusations of fraud in his response. He came across as personal. His multi-part Instagram posts weren't the slick PR-managed reactions of a company attempting to contain the fallout. They were the unvarnished, unfiltered remarks of a man who wanted to express his true anguish over what had happened on TV in real time, without any barriers between his mouth and the viewers. Sauce. Man, how long have we known each other? About 20 years. The tone was established by that first sentence. He wasn't beginning with a legal declaration or a denial. He began by discussing the relationship, the last 20 years, the history, and the bond that he believed had been insulted in front of everyone on the internet. You know, I never asked for or offered you anything for free. I'm glad you come shopping with me. He was gesturing toward the base. By stating, this was not charity, and it was not me doing you favors. It was business, real, paid for, respected business. He further refuted any suggestion that Sauce had been exploited or overcharged. According to Johnny, the relationship was always honest and reciprocal. You shop for jewelry all around Los Angeles, while my boy Cap is in New York. Everything is fine. All of it is love. Everyone must earn money. He was arguing that Sauce had never had a problem spending money with other jewelers in different locales. The switch wasn't the issue. The name-dropping was the issue. Johnny's name was purposefully attached to the changeover in a way that suggested he had let Sauce down, misled Sauce, or produced a subpar product. It's not an issue. I am aware that you only paid for the grill. Everything is fine. But buddy, don't be disrespectful to my name. I can't do that. Don't do that was the line that reappeared throughout his entire statement. No, the charges are untrue. No, this is our GIA certification. No, this is a lawyer. Just treat my name with some dignity. Since moving here from Vietnam 20 years ago, I've been busted. From nothing. The origin narrative from Vietnam was not coincidental. In order to root the audience in the entire arc of what he had created, Johnny purposefully referenced it. He had nothing when he arrived in America. He sold chocolates and televisions. He made his way into the jewelry industry. He created a store that attracted the largest names in the world's most prominent culture. And now, in front of a camera, a man he had known for 20 years was using his identity to give the impression that he had been selling counterfeit goods. I'm not flawless. For years, I've been busting my every day, putting in a lot of effort, traveling, playing vigorously. However, I don't disrespect anyone. The acknowledgement that I'm not flawless was a minor but significant event. He wasn't saying he was perfect. Even though he had made mistakes along the way, he was claiming to be truthful and to have acted honorably. Johnny also uploaded a video of the grill he said Saucewalker was initially meant to purchase from him, which was one of his more subtly damaging responses. He didn't present it as a furious rebuttal. He just displayed the design, the diamonds, and the craftsmanship, letting the inference take care of the rest. I had prepared this for you. You turned your back on this. I even give you a call and say, hey, let's go to the dinner together. I also ask you to join my nest by yourself so that we may earn money together. He had attempted to make amends in private. Dinner, a business discussion, a partnership. Before any of this erupted in public, all of that had taken place behind the scenes. Additionally, according to Johnny, Sauce prioritized the camera over the dialogue. I have a pretty unique design. Make sure the diamond is accurate, of a decent size, smooth, and not overly heavy or hefty so you may wait another year without being upset. His attention to detail about the grill's design served as a sort of defense in and of itself. At this point, he was not discussing natural versus lab-grown. He was discussing craftsmanship, sizing accuracy, weight distribution, and the piece's ability to withstand years in the mouth without deteriorating. This was a man outlining a level of professionalism he had upheld, even for a client who had now abandoned him. Additionally, it's free. Man, nothing but love. One of the few rappers I've known for more than 20 years is you. As a gesture and a peace gift, he had built the new grill for free, but it was insufficient. Only love. Man, I know. Oh, you going to do the moissanite or CVDs? Some foreigners ask when they hear about free items. Man, there it was, his direct response to the CVD accusations. Not a gemologist, not a certification, simply an outright denial expressed with the annoyance of someone who thought the charge was offensive rather than a valid worry. He wasn't interacting with it technically. He was completely opposing the idea. You guys spend the entire day chatting with another jeweler. As I often say, I stand behind Houston families, the neighborhood, and the city where I began at the bottom. He made a conscious decision to return to his roots and community after abandoning the CVD denial. He was shifting the focus of the story from the jeweler who was charged with fraud to the Houston legend, who created something out of nothing and continues to give back to the community. It was a well-thought-out rhetorical device, and it worked as he had hoped. Everything is fine. You have global shopping options. You know, you don't have to include my name. However, please treat my name with respect if you mention it. That sentence, which gave my name some dignity, became the response's headline. Because it highlighted something that went beyond the diamond disagreement or the jewelry beef. It was the section that was cut, shared, quoted, and repeated. When AI took over, it was about legacy, the value of 20 years of labor, and the price of having your name associated with a fraud narrative you didn't think you had earned. A second wave of content was developing on an entirely different level and was not based on anything real at all, while Johnny Dang was handling the very real and very human aftermath from his public feud with Sauce Walka. In April 2026, Fox 26 Houston reported that Johnny Dang had to deal with a deluge of hyperrealistic deepfake films created by AI that had started to appear on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. These weren't blatant parodies or fan edits. They were made-up scenes and narratives that sounded and looked plausible enough to trick casual viewers into thinking Johnny's firm had suffered a significant setback after being primed by the Sauce Walka drama. According to the fake information, officials had raided his flagship store in Houston. Some videos even went so far as to say he had been taken into custody. Others used verbiage intended to sound as though it had come from reputable news sources to discuss ongoing federal fraud investigations aimed at his company. Headlines like Johnny Dang's Houston store was raided and Johnny Dang was arrested for selling rappers fake jewelry were circulating with the kind of speed that only occurs when people are already paying attention and have a reason to think the news might be genuine. In this instance, Sauce Walka's public charges had done just that, creating an environment in which a fictitious account of a raid or an arrest seemed realistic because the underlying tension was genuine, even though the individual details being made up were not. Johnny Dang vigorously resisted everything. In his own videos and posts, he characterized the raid and arrest claims as fake news. He urged his audience not to believe content that lacked an official source, a police report, or a reputable news outlet and denounced those who were disseminating it as hate-mongers. His group attempted to identify deceptive films and ask platforms to take them down. Crucially, no major media outlet reported on any raids, arrests, or ongoing fraud investigations. There was no statement from any police department. Public records did not contain any court filings. Beyond the social media drama itself, no reputable local Houston news outlet, the kind that would have covered a story of that size in their own city, reported anything. In reality, Fox 26 covered the AI deepfake issue. Johnny Dang was not raided in the story. The narrative depicted Johnny Dang as a victim of false information produced by AI. Although that title is much different, it did not provide the viewers with the dramatic ending they were trained to desire, which is why it was far less popular than the fake versions. The rapidity and popularity of the fake content revealed much about the current state of hip-hop and social media. It just took a few days to turn a genuine argument involving Sauce Walka and his grill swap into a weaponized rumor that led to Johnny Dang's arrest and a business raid. Furthermore, it was not driven by journalism or even rumors. It was artificial intelligence, AI-generated video that appeared to be reporting, was inserted into a discourse that was already emotionally charged, and was magnified by YouTube algorithms that were ravenous for viewers' attention. The natural versus lab-grown diamond dispute, which has been altering the jewelry business for years, is the true and underlying issue in all of this, the one that predates Sauce Walka's charges and will persist much beyond the viral cycle. In the scientific sense, lab-grown diamonds are not counterfeit. They are genuine diamonds that are identical to mined stones in terms of chemistry, optics, and physical characteristics. The way they are made is the only thing that differs. One is generated in a controlled laboratory setting for a fraction of the cost, while the other is extracted from the earth at great expense and effort. The price of a natural 1-carat diamond might be $4,000 or $5,000. A 1-carat lab-grown diamond costs several $100s. Lab-grown diamonds have been a real disruption in the broader consumer market, giving consumers access to larger, clearer stones at reasonable prices. Additionally, some consumers find them intriguing due to ethical concerns regarding mining procedures. However, the calculus is entirely different in the jewelry culture of hip-hop. In that universe, a stone's status is determined not only by its appearance but also by its cost, the process of obtaining it, and the message it conveys about the wearer. Even if two diamonds are equal under a microscope, a $4,000 diamond and a $400 diamond have different social meanings in a society that values ostentatious consumption. Johnny Dang himself admitted this fact in a credible interview with KCOU Houston in 2025, pointing out that many of his rapper clientele specifically prefer natural diamonds and consider lab-grown stones to be inferior, even if they are not technically phony. For many of his expensive items, his own website highlights GIA-certified natural diamonds. Nevertheless, the company also sells lab-grown diamonds at more affordable prices. Sauce Walka's claim went beyond just saying that lab-grown stones are unhealthy. However, as of early April 2026, Sauce Walka's jewels had not been confirmed by any certified gemologist. The entire dispute had taken place solely on social media, and neither Sauce nor Johnny had filed a lawsuit or published an impartial analysis. There have long been concerns regarding Johnny Dang's stone quality, but they have always taken the form of anecdotal consumer complaints or rival shade rather than anything verifiable, according to older online forums like Reddit conversations on r/jewelry. Some exchanges expressed concerns about overpricing in relation to quality or smaller melee diamonds in elaborate creations, but none of those debates resulted in verified results or evolved into anything legal. Using Sauce Walka's name, Plug Geo's insider perspective, and an abundance of AI-generated supporting information, the 2026 wave took those pre-existing murmurs and amplified them to a roar, making a narrative seem bigger and more confirmed than the real evidence ever justified. And none of that is there in this story as of early April 2026. What's left is Plug Joe's accusations from a rival's point of view, Sauce Walka's word on Instagram, and a ton of AI-generated content created to make those two data points appear to be the subject of a federal inquiry. Johnny Dang is still in business. His store is still open. He continues to be active on social media. Even now, when no one knew his name and he was selling televisions out of a Houston storefront, he constantly posts new personalized works and responds to the critics with the same mix of pride and fury. Did you find this information fascinating and unbelievable? Make sure to see the other fantastic and comparable videos on the screen. Once again, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the upcoming video.